Hi, I am Nora Jane, and I wanted to do a quick video on the benefits of fermenting foods. I've just done a live with my friend Gloria, so you can check that out on Nora Jane Fit, but I wanted to just come on here and do a quick summary of some of the benefits of fermenting foods. So as we discussed in the live, there are many different types of ferments. You can do like a lacto ferment. You can do one with an inoculation where you're adding a SCOBY or some water kefir grains, and you can start like that. There are different types of aerobic and anaerobic ferments, but to keep it super simple, fermenting your food basically breaks the food down to make it more digestible. It enhances the nutrient content of that food as well, and it is used to enhance the flavor and also to preserve the food. So there's a lot of science now on the benefits of fermenting foods. A lot of people think fermented foods are probiotics, which they're not. They're functional foods, which when eaten in adequate amounts can provide a health benefit. But fermented foods will contain probiotics, which are the the good bacteria that thrive in your gut. And when probiotics are eaten in adequate amounts, they will confer a health benefit to the host. Why I wanted to do a talk on fermentation is because now we are realizing that the gut is linked to so many diseases and I don't want to use the word disorders, but so many illnesses, for example, when we don't have a healthy gut. So the bacteria or the microbiome, the colony of bacteria that reside in the gut, when we don't have good, healthy gut bacteria, we find that this is linked to disturbances in mood. You have increased inflammation in the body. You're more likely to get ill, depression, anxiety, weight gain, inability to lose weight, stress is higher. This is all linked to the gut. And why? The food that we eat contains bacteria, and that bacteria will release chemicals which then interact with chemicals in the brain, and basically they're sending messages to each other. And when we eat food that don't contain good bacteria, that will then impact our mood states. For example, we will find that we are more likely to become anxious or depressed when we eat food that when we eat food that contain good bacteria, for example, we find that the chemicals that are released have a really strong benefit on mood, on anxiety, on depression, on stress levels, etc. So when they were doing a study on rats, they found that when they were giving them lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, so two strains of bacteria that you can find in live cultured yogurt, the rats, when put under stress, exhibited lower rates of depression and anxiety. And when they did the same study or similar study in humans, they found that humans, after a month of taking bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, were showing improved mood states, reduction in anxiety and depression. So fermented foods are super important. We need to be eating them a couple times a day, at least topping it up with a drink. So like something like water kefir or kvass, like a beet kvass or kombucha, to make sure we're getting the healthy strains of bacteria, the probiotics into our gut. Within the gut, there's 60 to 70% of the immune system residing there. So gut health is linked to immune function. If we are ill, we can't function well. It's also linked to mental health. So you have certain foods that you eat, which when the fermented foods, when they break down, they produce a chemical called GABA for short, which acts like an antidepressant, and it reduces anxiety and depression. So fermented foods are so super important. We discussed the types of fermented foods you can have, and Gloria had amazing ferments that she showed that she makes. Her channel is Smooth Cultures Official on Instagram, because I love her. I think she's amazing. We looked at kombucha, water kefir, there's milk kefir, natto, tempeh, miso, pickles, sauerkraut. There is yogurt, there is shoyu koji. So there's so much that you can start with. I said tempeh already, and I said natto already, I think. And you can make your own, but literally cabbage and carrots and salt and water in a glass jar. With your water kefir grains, you can buy a tablespoon of that, ferment that with water and sugar and a couple of figs and some lemon slices, and you have an amazing ferment, the grains will continue to grow and multiply, and you can share that with your friends. With fermented foods, you'll find that in addition to improved mood states and reduction in anxiety, you'll also see things like an increased ability to digest food properly and easier, because they're the enzymes that are released when foods are fermented, in addition to vitamins that are produced as well, or unlocked within those foods. Weight loss occurs. That was something that I noted with water kefir. I was breastfeeding at 18 months, not changing anything in my diet except adding a liter of water kefir per day because I was just craving this stuff. And I was just dropping weight. So there is so much, my brain just froze, but there's so many benefits to fermented foods. The science is still becoming more, what's the word that I want to use? It's becoming more available, but it is a field of study that's relatively new, because we're finding that we're seeing a lot of kombucha, but water kefir is coming out into the market. Natto, for example, tempeh, those are becoming more widely available. But my message here is that we can ferment at home on our own without having to go and buy probiotics. Our fermented foods are functional foods, which, in addition to containing probiotics, have other enzymes and vitamins that have a benefit to our overall health. So we can ferment our foods on our own and have raw, living, unpasteurized, unheat treated foods that are just bursting full of energy and life. And there's so many things that you can try that you can introduce to your kids that they would love. And a really good one to start with is water kefir. My daughter loves water kefir, and you can just do so many different types of flavors with that. Kombucha is a bit stronger, but it's still really delicious. Tempeh, you can have that with like a homemade sweet chili dip. Tofu is really nice when you pan fry that with like some olive oil and some sauteed onions and peppers. Like you could ferment everything. It's so delicious. So I wanted to do a little video on that just to encourage you guys to start fermenting your foods. Please do patronize Gloria, because she ferments ethically, in terms of it's all raw, mostly organic, I believe, non-GMO. It's just the pure stuff, and it's made with love and intention, which is super important, that you know the energy that's being